Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Afer Muzu, and today we have a packed show for you. Today we are discussing some three very key topics of interest to you, or should be of interest to you. And these topics are going to be one, the doom source, the electricity, the power issue, and its ramification has cost us another debt. Another judgment debt of 170 million US dollars. And we will be discussing that. We'll be looking at whether the government actually worked and represented as well as, the custodian of our purse, whether they put off the best representation, what are some of the submissions they made, why did they abrogate the contract, and whether this is a misgovernance. What are some of the governance issues in this judgment, the situation that we are faced with as a country? And have there been some wrongdoing? So we'll look into all that, and I'll be joined by my guest, regular panelist or regular guest. I'm talking here about Paul Disoso. If you watch the show, you are familiar with Paul Disoso of the NDC, delivers all the time. We'll also be joined by Afa, who is also, on the other side of the house, or represents the MPP, would also join us and canvass reasons. And I think they say they have some solid reasons for abrogating the contract. They thought, we had excess capacity, and we want to hear from him what those excess capacities were and whether we could find ways to use them, and whether from his perspective abrogating this contract and incurring $170 million of judgment that is actually right. It's actually right, and whether people should actually be answering, and perhaps whether there should be further investigations into this, and if people are found culpable, that the law takes its course and deal with them. Now, I'm going to take a quick break so I can check the green room to see if my guests are in for today's discussion. And in the meantime, tell a friend that the Ghana Agenda is on. Today, we are going to look at the breakdown of, the $170 million, what it constitutes, what are the mobilization costs, what are the components in there. We'll look at that. And we'll also look at this thing has become the interesting part of this conversation is that there was a condition precedence, which means things that the contractor was supposed to have done before the contract is set to be effective, and conditions. What do you call the other one? After the fact, he has condition precedence and condition subsequents, which the government is saying that some of those condition precedents were not met, and therefore, contract is not effective. And so we'll look into all that. The second topic we'll look at, and as I wait for my guest to join, the second topic we are going to look at today is Fitch, which is one of the rating agencies, one of the organizations that actually studies and looks at our debts, our loans, and see whether we are credit worthy. And they give us a grade, just like you check your credit report all the time, and there is Experian, there is Equifax. For those of us in the United States I'm talking about, we are able to go to Equifax and pull your credit report, and there's a number, there's a value given to you. And based on that number, creditors are, either going to lend you money to buy a house, to buy a car, or whatever it is that you're interested in buying, even to get a credit card. Ghana, or a country, also does go through a similar assessment, and it's done by companies like Moody's, Fitch, and Fitch actually just released a report on Ghana. Interestingly, we maintain or stabilize a B. We were at B and we maintained the B, and I will talk about what that B means, but our outlook has switched from stable to negative. It's now negative. So we'll also look at what that negative means, and I could give you a hint. You think about it. And when we come back, tell me, and I'll see if we can give you a prize on the show today. Thanks for watching the show. Please share the link if you are new to the show. This is the Ghana Agenda, and it's all about politics. When we come back, we would continue this conversation, and I'll be joined by my guests. We will be right
Hey everybody, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah baby, aka Ya Phantom. And me di feel a bozen pan and to see one bridge with your money how Ghana mat other romantic. What's me sending provisions as I sutra credit Emma Ebusuya phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And then we say boy a sharp connection www.ghanamat.com. Let's try more provisions in the credit. Na really I have friend numbers on screen. Ghana Mat, yeah.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and you are watching the Ghana Agenda for June 26, 2021. And today we are talking about three things. We'll be talking about the $170 million judgment debt to GPGC, which is the Ghana Power Generation Company or so. And we are asking the question whether that is a misgovernance. We want to look at it from the perspective of all the governance issues, institutions that are supposed to be in charge. We're talking about even cabinet. We're talking about the role of parliament. We're talking about the Energy Commission. We're talking about the Ministry of Energy. We're talking about the Ministry of Finance and the role each of these individual institutions in governance of our country. The governance institutions that are supposed to be the guardians of our resources. We'll look at all of them and the role they play in causing these debts. We'll look at VRA and the role VRA play. We'll look at Greco, etc., etc., etc. And most importantly, we'll see the role our Ministry of Justice also played in defending our interest. Especially very important because this wasn't in front of a Ghanaian court. This is an international arbitration that is supposed to go by UNICITRAL. And we'll look at what UNICITRAL is, and etc., etc. I think Paul is on. So Paul, if you are you listening to me? Paul, can you hear me?
Ramuzu, can you hear me?
Good. So we are joined by Paul. I can hear Paul, but I can't see your picture. So I don't know if you're great. I can see your picture. I'm also waiting for, let me see if I got something from him. But Paul, thanks for joining the show today. How was your week? And how is your day going?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu, for the opportunity once again to be on this great show. As I always say, this is a show that, we come here to speak truth. We come here to debate the fact as it is.
Right.
No propaganda, no creating questions and setting questions for yourself to answer, which my good friends in the NPP are fond of doing. Let's speak to the fact. We all have the judgment. We've all read the judgment. We know what is entailed in the judgment. So I'm happy this afternoon to be here. I hope Ifa will be on this show because he was bragging. behind scene when we were chatting on our platform. He was making a lot of noise, and I'm expecting him to come here this
Efa just
afternoon
told me I'm going to
to
bust your bubble
debate
now.
me.
Efa said he has an emergency.
I thought as much. I thought as much.
Efa
I
has
thought
an
as much.
emergency. So
Anyway, I mean,
I'm sorry you are
for the
disappointed
love
on
we have
that.
for the love we have for the program that you host and the
Yeah,
respect we have for you, I mean, we'll go ahead to make and lay our case
have
down.
the
Thank you.
conversations, right? So yeah, Paul. I've tabled three things for discussion today, which is the first would be the power purchase agreement we have with GPGC and the deadman jet that ensue from that relationship. And we are asking the question whether this is a misgovernance. Now, this thing cut across administrations. But Paul, before we get into this conversation, I know you belong to the NDC, and the great NDC lost a comrade in person of Hope Chikata, who happened to, be in the middle of presentation at a summit in Hull when, his situation started. But we lost him, and we want to take maybe 1 minute. I don't know if you know him personally or if you've heard anything in your channels that you want to say a word or two. But after that, we'll just take 1 quick minute and observe silence for him.
Well, it's unfortunate that such an incident happened.
Right.
All we want to say is that we extend our condolences to the family, the immediate family, the party as a whole, and all Ghanaians. It's unfortunate. May he so rest in peace.
Yeah. So Paul, as you rightly said, may his soul rest in peace. Chikata lost his life today, and he's a very young man, very vibrant, very professional, and it's a great loss to our nation. And we want to take a minute of observe a minute of silence in his name. All right, welcome back to the show. May his soul rest in peace. This is painful for the family. It's painful for me, and I hope if you know him, that this is a painful loss for all of us, and we mourn with the family, and our prayers are with the family. Okay, so Paul. Today we want to talk about of course the judgment issue, and then when we quickly go through that maybe for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then we switch to you know our economic and the fact that Fitch came back to revise the outlook to negative. And then once we're done with that, of course, the Fix the Nation demonstrators also ran into some arrests, and I'm sure you have something to say about that, and whether this is another evidence of the deepening of the culture of silence and perhaps the culture of intimidation that we're experiencing in the country. Also, the last thing I wanted to talk about, it's vetting. Vetting. In 1996, we saw a version of a deal in Parliament where parliamentary ministerial appointees who didn't have to be vetted. should we go back to that? Are these veterans actually becoming valueless to our democratic dispensation? And I want us to kind of look briefly at that as well. So, Paul, let's start from the first one. The judgment debt. Reading what has actually happened here, and looking at some of the videos I've seen, I want to ask the very first question. I know we want to go into the background and kind of set the stage for why we even got to where we got to. But do you see some intentional acts, some things that we can go after and do proper investigation of?
Well, Alfred, it's so sad, it's so pathetic, and it's so disappointing for Ghana to be paying this debt, which could have been avoidable. Why am I saying so? Look, this contract, okay,
Right.
the GPGC contract, okay, as much as the former administration were looking at it, were considering if they have to, do something about it, does not give this government and the current attorney general, who happened to be the deputy attorney general in the last administration, to do this great harm to Mother Ghana. This $170 million debt that we are going to pay back to this GPGC company, that money can do a lot of things in Mother Ghana. There are pictures all over on the social media whereby we have babies lying in, seats in our hospitals. Our brothers and sisters back home fall sick, they go to the hospital, they cannot even get a bed to sleep on. Our brothers and sisters are back home and going to school in a very deplorable manner. And we continue to be wasting money, throwing money away. In this instance, I'm not going to sit here and play the ostrich over here.
Right.
In the NDC era, there are some judgment debts that occur which were also avoidable.
Right.
We thought this government have made a lot of noise about judgment debt. They claim and they try to create the impression that they are the most efficient and they have the men to manage the economy of Ghana. How come that the attorney general, the current attorney general, who was then the deputy attorney general, who was part of this
He was part
cancellation
of
of this deal,
the council
yeah,
from day one.
they want to come and sit and tell us that he was not then attorney general. There was an acting. It's unacceptable.
Right.
I think
And
the
then we continue to say government is a continuation. It's a
continuous
continuation.
process. Exactly. He
And
was
this
the
is where
deputy
you are now
attorney
handing
general under
over.
Gloria Akufo-Addo. When Gloria Akufo-Addo was the attorney general, he was his deputy.
But
He
his
was
argument is that uh, there was an election and there was a change of power. There was supposed to be a cessation in his office on the 6th of January, right? 7th, there's a new government,
Mr. Muzo,
and
Mr.
until
Muzo,
he's
this is a bogus and let me borrow the words of the Chief Justice, a fantasy story that he's trying to tell the good people of Ghana.
right.
He was the deputy attorney general, and the deal was cancelled when he was the deputy attorney general.
Right.
And they were supposed to go to the arbitration for him to delegate and get the proper, legal firm to represent Ghana. They did nothing with the explanation that because of COVID. It is sad. It is very disappointing.
Right.
And I think the time has come for Mother Ghana. They should set up a committee, a bipartisan committee, to scrutinize and audit any contract that will be sent to Parliament. After Parliament does its due diligence, this bipartisan committee should take the document, scrutinize it, and let's make sure that in the near future, this thing will not happen to Mother Ghana again. The judgment debts are becoming too much. And it's like these things happen and they'll talk about it 2-3 weeks. is gone down the drain, and this money will be paid.
Right.
I think this topic has been tabled on your show, I think earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And our
We talked
friends in
about
the
it.
NPP ran away. They did not appear on the show. And I'm not surprised today that Ifa, who was making a lot of noise, is not appearing on this show. He's running away from the show this afternoon. Mr. Muzu, simple and short, it's unacceptable.
Right.
Both NPP and NDC need to set up. We cannot continue with this sort of attitude. We
Right.
cannot continue throwing the taxpayers' money away. We have a lot of things we need to do for our country, Mother Ghana, and Ghana need the helps that this money that will be paid can be used to do a lot of things. For me, the short form and my opening statement is that the Attorney General, Alfred Yabwa Dame, has no
Right.
excuse to run away from this deal.
Right.
All the inefficiencies, the blame, the should be laid at his doorsteps.
Right.
Instead of him concentrating on these big court legal issues, he rather choose to go and sit in a court case where the police and the let fix the country people are fighting over demonstration. That's what he chose to do. Instead of him concentrating on this, for me, this issue or this blame should be put on the head of Godfred Yeboah Odame. Short, nothing else, nothing more. And for
Right.
look, some of the NP people are playing propaganda and trying to claim the impression that the NDC signed this agreement whilst
Right.
they were not supposed to sign it. There was excess power that we have to that was going with, and we're paying 1 billion every year. It has come out that all these statements are lies.
Right.
Mr. Musu, today I wish
I
the
mean,
NPP guys would have been on this program and let's debate this thing this afternoon.
right, because
I am
the
saying,
understanding is the minister is saying that we actually even need more power just this year.
yeah, exactly. So you
Here you
see,
are abrogating contracts. Here you are canceling contracts for power generation that you are paying. We are paying more than this contract is worth. The contract is actually worth about 119 million.
million, and we are
We are
not
paying
paying 170 million.
170
And Mr. Alfred,
without
don't
getting the
forget, don't
yeah.
forget, if we don't do the payment this year,
Yeah,
next year 6% of that
that will
amount
be
will be increased on the money.
labor plus,
So I
labor
mean,
plus.
what is this? This is so sad. Let's stop this thing. Mother Ghana needs to survive.
Right.
So
So
for
as you
me,
can see on
my
the screen,
primary
as you can see on the
presentation,
screen, these are the lawyers that represented us. And you can see on the list, this is on page what? 30. Oh,
page
forgot about the
39.
page. Yeah. You can see the lawyers who represented us, right? And Miss Gloria Akufo. This is the first counsel there.
That's
And
the former Attorney General who
yes,
gave a who gave his advice. Even the advice Gloria Akufu gave for
right,
the basis for them to terminate this contract, they did not even go by that advice.
right,
That is the problem over here. And for Corporate Aldame to be coming to create impression as if he was not part of it is so
right.
shameful. This
Yeah.
shows how super incompetent he is. The only thing he's good in is to do the bidding of the president. The only thing he's good in is to be fighting, let face the country people. The only good thing he's interested in is to fight, the legal things that people have their right for. Those are the things that he's good in. This is
Okay.
the case for him
So,
to spend on his time. He
right,
should stop going to the high court, fighting, fix the country people. He should
right.
concentrate on this and let's find a way. If there's a way that we can talk to this GPGC people to be able to, catch the money that if with $1 million is savings, let's go back and talk to them.
I'm sure they have already demobilized because they're also charging us as part of that judgment demobilization cost, which is dismantling the GE 600 LM machines,
The
the
equipment,
aero
yes, they've done all these things.
derivative. Yeah,
You see, Mr. Musu, if you look at this contract, okay, it
right.
was one of the contracts when Ghana was under pressure for energy. One
So
of
what
the
I,
best contracts
yeah.
that was signed.
Uh-huh. So now
Why
let's
am
do
I
this.
saying so? Let me just give you
Let's
these
do this.
details. Let me just give you these details.
Okay, go ahead.
One of the best contract that was signed because
Mhm.
with this contract, it was signed for only 4 years.
Right.
And it was the lowest charge. That was 4 cents per kilowatt kilowatt per hour. That was the charges. As compared to car power, which was going for 5.4 cents per kilowatt per hour. So this is one of the
tariffs,
the charges, the tariff, yes. So this is one of the best
I want us to do this. I want us to do this, right? So we know in 2015 we're on top of Doomsaw. Of course, you saw the demonstrations on the street, one of them led by our famous actor Yvonne Nelson. And it's ironic that today we are preventing people from going on the street and say fix it. But this very issue actually caused a big demonstration in Ghana. And some people would even say that this is one of the reasons why John Dramani Mahama lost the election.
I agree with you. I agree with you totally, my brother. The reason why John Mahama lost the 2016 elections is 2 reasons. They use this Doomsaw led by Yvonne Nelson, David, whatever they call him, propaganda.
Occupy Ghana.
Occupy Ghana. Those people who have created themselves, and now they've all shut up. They are all not talking.
Right.
They've kept quiet because their government is in power.
And it's ironic that today there are issues worse than those days.
Exactly.
Yeah, people want to go on demonstration
that's
for.
The hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy of some people in Ghana. You remember the last time I told you on your show that the problem of Ghana is 1, the clergy and the Islamic body. 2, these people, they call themselves celebrity. 3, the journalists. They are the problem of Ghana. Mr. Musu, as you rightly said, issues that are happening today are worse than the things that happened in 2015. But the media has gone quiet on this.
Right.
This issue came up about 4 months ago. This issue came up about 4 months. Your media station and Power FM is the only station that spoke about it.
Right.
Power FM multimedia, they all kept quiet. They didn't make it a priority, a news for them to discuss.
Nobody talked about it, right? But Ghana agenda, we got it.
you know, and they've come back, to do this thing because they are trying to divert attention from the 50,000 pounds sterling airplane. They are just trying to divert attention. That's why they brought this issue back.
Right. Okay. So going back to 2015, so we got into this agreement with this company called GPGC, which my understanding is the Ghana Power Generation Company, GPGC. And GPGC was going to be taking a generator that they would bring to Ghana from Italy. It was supposed to be situated at Abuaje in the western region. Abuaze. All right. I say Abuaje. Anyway, closer to where the gas, is found, right? In the Western Enclave.
Yes.
The land we gave them, then we finally realized that, that land is an oxidation site, active oxidation site, owned by the VRA.
Yes.
Now, proper things were done. Contract was effected. The contract was taken to Parliament, and Parliament ratified it. The government was on the hook to help the contractor obtain licenses and go through the registration processes. The land we gave them at Abuaze, we came back and said, first of all, we promised that we were going to relocate the oxidation site. But we came back and said, no, the oxidation site is going to cost us too much to relocate. So we will give them an alternate place. The alternate place happened to be a 330 kilowatt voltage sort of location. It's in the line. So we came back again and said, because there is that, transmission line over there, station over there, we couldn't locate the factory over there because that transmission line is in a critical path. It wasn't, technically sound to do so. Then we moved on to Tema. Oh, right?
Yes.
But this, again, let's also remember that this was happening in 2015, and this is when the NDC was actually in power.
And they have to go to VRA, another site.
We went to another VRA site at Pong. Then though that it was agreed on that, or it was, suggested that they locate over there, they had negotiated, the whatever we call it, the peppercorn rent price, which is supposed to be cheaper than the market price,
Exactly.
for them to pay. VRA disagreed. VRA, frustrated them, said they have to show this agreement to their employees and staffs and blah blah stakeholders,
And this
and
was in
seek their approval.
This was in 2016, 2017, right?
Right.
Yes.
They seek the approval of the staff and all that before a land can be given to them. And then GPGC said, look, government, step in there and get me the land. We've been moving around for so many different locations. You are frustrating me. I can't do the job. In the meantime, we have dismantled the plants in Italy. All right. Put it on a ship, arrived in Ghana. The government was supposed to give them a tax, waiver. Even the tax waiver, we were frustrating them. We wouldn't give them the tax waiver. Then they promised, did I lose you, Paul? Oh, okay. And then they promised that the government, we promised them that we're gonna give them the tax. We were taking it to cabinet, etc., etc. They even said they were gonna use their own money to pay the tax. They use their own money to pay the tax. We agreed to reimburse them when they do so. If the contract say whatever they expense in, that, for instance, in acquiring licenses that the government was supposed to help them do, that they spend their own money, that they'll be reimbursed. So we promised we're going to reimburse them, and they wanted to pay. They pay for those things themselves to get the machines in here. Then we kicked them out of POM because VRA wouldn't agree to the land. They went and found a place of their own to rent, Blue Sky, a private entity, and got into an agreement with a private entity to build the plant over there. They informed the government.
They are making money. They are spending money.
They're spending money. Informing the government. They informed the government about their location in the Blue Sky, etc., etc. Now, the government's argument is that they couldn't have been acquiring a site that is the government's duty to acquire for them. That it shouldn't be them directly dealing with a private entity trying to acquire the land that the government. Meanwhile, this is the same government who failed to locate or who renege on their own arrangement to allocate 3 different sites to these people. So that is quick background of where things fell off the cliff. They got terminated. They tried several different times under this new administration, and there were several different studies that actually took place, starting from the NDC's regime when they decided, they want to look into all the power purchase agreement. They had a report which was submitted to this new administration. This new administration picked it up, took the report. That's the commission again chaired by Mr. Hinkra, who's one of the the directors, or one of the, I don't know if he's the second in command at the Energy Commission or so. To lead to also put a report out. Yeah,
it to be very appreciative that let's stop talking about this Mr. Hinkra, because Mr. Hinkra at that arbitration, when he was called upon to speak to the document or the review of this contract and the recommendations, he said he does not remember he did such a thing. So let's take him out. This contract that was abrogated just because people want to show people how power is. That is it. Ghana has no business in abrogating this contract. We should have still hold to this contract, go into the contract, because we needed power. Mr. Amuzo, I'm telling you, there are industries still who are in need of power, and we are not able to supply that power. We could have gone ahead with this contract, get these people set up, supply the power, which is one of the cheapest so far among all the power contracts we've got into, and let's go and sell this power to neighboring country, Burkina Faso and Togo even.
We don't even need to sell it to neighboring, to be honest, just to add to that, we don't need to sell it to Burkina Faso, because even if you go to in Ghana, Valco is only in 2 of its smelters. Only 2. They have 5. So 3 of their smelters are offline
because there's not enough power to run them.
To do it. So how do we arrive at excess power capacity?
You see, the NPP people will pro propaganda, and if was all over, posting all sorts of documents, and he should be here and talk today. I thought
Right.
he was going to run away, and lo and behold, he's run away from debating because he cannot come and sit here and speak lies and disgrace himself. That is why he couldn't appear on this show. I am saying that it is sad. Let's all learn a lesson from this thing. Moving forward, for me, irrespective of whoever is involved, I think we should set up a bipartisan committee to look into this thing. And let's bring whoever is involved, who
Right.
caused this negligence, let's bring the person to book. And if
Right.
Godfrey Dame Yeboah, the current Attorney General,
Mhm.
is minded and he has integrity, he should have been resigning by now.
I think so too.
He is the cause of all this thing.
I think so too.
If he has sent a representative, do you know that at the arbitration, Ghana did not send a representative? We did not appear. We sent, instead of us going to hire a foreign legal firm from UK, we decided to go with local people. And this is what has led us to
arbitrary. They were destroyed.
exactly
Every turn. They didn't even provide the documents. See, it's interesting that this actually happened. This happened outside of Ghana.
Dubious. This government is going to be a corrupt government in such a way that when you are fighting a legal case, they decide to take some of the documents from the contract and they send it to the arbitration, and they were caught right there.
They redacted. There were so many, documents that were being asked, like the cabinet memo.
They didn't submit all those things. They took them out.
They said,
why did they do that?
No. Even comparative contracts they've gone into, they say no, it would cause several different lawsuits. They wouldn't submit it. They've wasted almost a year. Where they were being asked, produce document, please produce document. And some of those documents are making the rounds now unredacted. And you look at them, there's no reason they those documents. Like there's nothing in that document
that
incriminated
anybody. If they have submitted those documents, maybe we could have even get a little reason for even getting out of this contract. But I am saying in the first instances, there's no basis to cancel this contract. And today I listened to news file.
Why are you saying that though? Why are you saying there's no basis? Because they provided some reasons.
There's no basis to abrogate this contract. The reasons upon which this unqualified Attorney General, I say unqualified because if he's qualified, he's not going to do this thing. If Ghana was his company, he would not have sit down aloof to look on for this judgment debt to be put on his company. I am saying that there was no basis for them to cancel this contract because even they could have gone into a better negotiation. And if we want to get out of this contract, based upon the terms of the contract, we could have only paid $18 million to these people, and then
that 18 million. The 18 million, there's no basis for that calculation. Even GPGC.
This morning, I listened to news file. All the people, all the legal luminaries that were interviewed, all of them were saying that there was no justification for this government
the cancellation of the contract. That one we got it.
So let's
the government say. The government says that GPGC's allegation that it failed to perform nearly all of its obligation under the EPA, while it concedes that it failed to satisfy some of the conditions precedent. Its position is that the events surrounding the non-fulfillment of the conditions precedent and the conditions subsequent were beyond the remit and control of the respondent, which is the government, and not envisaged under the agreement, which is the EPA. They are saying that I think this is an admission of fact, though. Let's look at this.
That's a big admission of fact.
This is an admission that
they were saying that the people were supposed to take a license from the EPA.
Yeah, they were supposed to have them do something.
The people have done that. So
the government also has its own condition precedents that the government is supposed to, So here is the government responding to, and so the government is saying that the government is saying that the EPA did not come into effect. All right. The government is saying that the government suggests that following the execution of the EPA, GPGC failed to meet all of its condition precedents under the EPA, and that it neither requested the government assistance nor sought an extension of time to enable it to fulfill the conditions subsequent. So basically, and I don't know if they are trying to play with words over there, but basically they're saying that the agreement did not even come into effect at all. Now, in the same sentence, they're telling you that by the way, they didn't even come to ask for permission for an extension so that they can perform the conditions after the agreement come into effect. So the agreement didn't come into effect. Why would they come to ask you for permission to perform part of the agreement that hasn't come into effect? I don't know if you're following me. You're on mute. I think you're on mute.
I agree with you perfectly. That is why I'm saying that there was no basis for Soreva to cancel this contract. So for them going to cancel this contract, they just wanted to show that they are in charge. I think the current Attorney General should take or bear all this responsibility on his shoulders. He's the cause. He has caused Ghana to go into this huge debt. We pray and hope that in the future, if they are going to cancel any contract, any deal that went to Parliament, why didn't they even go to Parliament to go and discuss with Parliament? Because Parliament looked at this contract and approved it, consisting of both NPP and NDC members in Parliament. Is the Attorney General and the then Minister for Energy under the NPP government, Ejakun, Boakye Ejakun, saying that they are so intelligent and smarter than the KT Hammonds, the NAPO, and all their members who are part of the Energy Committee in Parliament? This is something that, is unacceptable. Because this thing went to Ghana Parliament. Then it means what they are trying to tell us that the Parliament is just sitting down there, not doing their job. That is why I am saying that, for me, I think my recommendation is that let's set up a bipartisan committee to look into this. In the future, any contract, any foreign contract that needs to go to Parliament, after Parliament scrutinizes it, let this document go to the bipartisan committee, which will comprise of experts from the field to also put their input in it before
and they can even invite experts on issues
that signed, before any pen will be a pen on any document to go into any contract to avoid these damages in the near future.
But why would they do something like this, Paul?
I think Ifa should have been here to answer us. Ifa should have been on this show. The NPP communicators should be here and tell us. Now, the politics they are playing, the lotto forecaster over there, Paul Adumochi, is trying to create impression as if this GPGC company, when they came, they used Dominic Ayeni's law firm as their office. So therefore, this thing is not going to wash. They are trying to divert attention. It's not going to wash. The issue at stake is that Dr. Ayenin, as the Deputy Attorney General, has excused himself. He was not part of the company. He has to rescue himself from the company. Okay, so Dr. Basit Bamba was the one that the company was dealing with. Unfortunately, he was working with that chamber. But as we speak, Dr. Basit Bamba has moved and formed his own chamber, and that contract was for him, was his deal. He took it away. So that propaganda that lotto forecaster Paul Adumochi is doing on Metro TV is so bizarre, is so sad, and is so disappointing for a journalist at his status to be playing propaganda, throwing dust, trying to create confusion, trying to muddy the waters. For us to focus and look at this thing and resolve it, they are trying to do it to become NPP NDC. Is the NDC who did it? Is the NPP fault? And that is not going to help Mother Ghana. What is going to help Mother Ghana is that let's set up a bipartisan committee right now to look into this deal, and let's find out the people who caused this damage, and let's bring the people to book.
Just for clearance of doubt, I know people, kind of we spoke in like terms as though everybody understands what those condition precedents and condition subsequents are, and I'm bringing this up because it's key to why perhaps you think it's not even they shouldn't have gone close to even canceling this at all. Let me read out what effective date means here. I'm going to take us through some of the provisions of the contract. It says effective date. Paul ran away. Okay, it says effective date is the subject.
I'm here. Just go ahead. I'm here. I just mute myself.
Yeah, subject to clause 25 of this agreement. This agreement shall have a term commencing on the signature date, meaning the date it was signed. And then it says the term shall be a guaranteed period in the event this EPA is terminated in accordance with the provisions thereof prior to the schedule expiration, and they are citing 48 months to be the period of this agreement. Okay, now the condition precedents are, it says the performance of the obligations of the parties under this agreement is subject to the fulfillment or waiver of the following conditions. Government of Ghana condition precedent, ratification of this agreement by the Parliament of Ghana. So that means the government was supposed to take the agreement to Parliament and have Parliament ratify it, and Parliament did that. The government having obtained parliamentary approval for the required tax exemptions. The government indicating its satisfaction with the state of the GPGC plans, and such satisfaction not to be reasonably withheld. So they have to go and examine the plan, and they've actually sent someone to, I don't know if it's Mr. Jatta or so, to Italy to look at the plans and give them that satisfaction. The government having provided unimpeded access to a site for the GPGC equipment. So that is the site we're talking about, from the Boise, that the two locations that they could not follow through, all the way through Tema and to the Blue, to where the organization itself went into an agreement with a private entity. Conditions precedent to the company, GPGC, is that they shall at its own expense test samples of natural gas to be provided by the government to confirm whether or not they met the minimum qualifications and specifications stated in Annex blah, 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 blah. So basically, they have to get the gas that they are going to use to kind of run these plants to generate electricity. They have to get samples from the government and test them at their own expense, which they've done. GPGC shall communicate to government of Ghana in writing the suitability or otherwise of the sites, and they've had those deliberations. At all times they were ready. All they have to do is move the oxidation site, and the machines would have been sited where they were originally going to be sited. GPGC having provided to government a copy of maintenance records of the GPGC plant, and they've said they've done that every single year, and they've been doing
everything in that thing that you are reading shows
correct.
That we have no basis to cancel this agreement.
Yeah, so
if anybody should have terminated that contract, is the GPGC people.
I think they should have terminated the contract on the fact that they couldn't cite even a location.
Exactly. The way they were being frustrated from site A, site B, site C. You understand? They should have
and the contract provided that they can terminate the contract based on something like that.
Exactly, and then surcharge us.
Yes.
Which they did not do. So upon what basis did Godfrey Yeboah Dami think he knows best, he cancel this contract? And Mr. Musu, before we move on to the next topic, let me set this record straight. You see, this NPP government keep on lying to the good people of Ghana. It is on record, and there's series of videos. And I think if you go into your archives, you might get one of the videos that I'm talking about, whereby this super incompetent government has stated categorically that they've come to power, they've been paying excess capacity over $1 billion every year. And it has turned out not to be true. In the first place, let's talk about this excess capacity. Look, in the energy sector, in the power sector, okay, if you are generating power for consumption, let's assume you need 5,000 kilowatt or 5,000 megawatt of power to be used. You need to have excess that in case of emergency you fall upon. It's just like you are playing a football team. The 11 people will be on the park, but they are reserve players. So it is part and requirement of the energy sector that anytime you are planning your energy generation, you need to plan for excess capacity. Now, this super incompetent NPP party has consistently thrown dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. When the Minister of Finance was a question was put to him by Honorable Suhini, that they want to know how much has been paid for excess capacity since they took power, Mr. Musu, based upon what they've told the Ghanaians that 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, they paid $1 billion every year. How much $1 million should that be? That's $4 billion every year.
Right.
It turned out that from 2017 to 2020, the amount or total money paid for excess power generation, or that of paid as excess power that we did not use, is $937.5 million. Out of this money, it was paid to 3 companies. And
Right.
these companies are Archives, Car Power, and Send Power. These companies are all generating power as we speak for Ghana.
Right.
So paying them this amount for the past 4 years, less than 1 billion, why should this government be lying to Ghanaians that
But it's not.
you're
It's
paying
not.
1 billion every year?
The whole idea of paying for excess power when there are 3 smelters now working in Valco makes no sense.
Exactly, I agree.
It doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
There is no excess power in Ghana. We need to kind of disabuse we need to forget. We need to stop talking about that.
This is what the
We have
propaganda
a
they play.
need. We have a need for power. We have
This
a
is
need.
the
We want
propaganda.
to industrialize. Iron smelting is a big business. Vaco having all 5 smelters online will change our economic. It will change our economic dynamics.
Exactly.
So if there are agreements to supply you power for that same purpose,
So I just want to denote that notion, so they should stop lying to Ghanaians that they were paying
Right.
one. That never happened. Per their own statement, per their own Minister of Finance, he's saying that between 2017 and 2020, he has spent less than $1 million for excess power, and the money was paid to 3 companies, which I've named over here. All these 3 companies are supplying power to Ghana currently, and this excess power, if we could have made use of it, as you said, I mean, Valco could have made use of it. Even if not Valco, we could have generated this power, or we could have sold this power to Burkina Faso. So it is due to the negligence and the incompetence of this government. That is why they have to pay all this huge amount on excess power. So they should stop creating the impression as if the former government signed a lot of contracts. There was excess power that government is paying 1 billion every year. It is not true. I was expecting Efa to be on this show because he's mentioned this thing several times to create impression as if the former administration were incompetent. It has now turned out that this NPP administration are the incompetent ones. They don't know what they are doing. They don't understand the power business, and they should come for lessons from the NDC.
Right. On that note, we take a quick break, and when we come back, we have 2 other topics we've tabled for discussion today, which is the revision of our economic outlook by Fitch to negative, and then we'll also be looking at some issues that came out in court as far as Fix the Nation is concerned, and some arrests also occurred, and we will be looking at Parliament. This whole vetting that is done by Parliament of ministerial appointments, are we losing the importance of that? Is it even necessary anymore? Should we just kind of, let them all ride in just like we did in 1996? We'll be right back to continue the conversation. Please tell a friend to tell a friend that the Ghana Agenda is on. We will be right back.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show. Today is June 26th version of the Ghana Agenda. We are talking about the doomsaw effects that lingered on, and it's costing us. It keeps costing us until today. You know, when we were in the middle of doomsaw, we went into a lot of agreements to have companies generate power into our grid. When the new administration came into power, even before the new administration came into power, we went into a study to kind of evaluate all the contracts we had to see if they are all really needed and how we restructure. And some things happened to some. Some were deferred. There were contracts that were deferred, from 2017. Instead of them coming online, we deferred them to 2018. There were some that were even deferred all the way to 2025. So the question people are asking is, this one is the least risky one because it's only 4 years. This is the one. So it would start, and in 4 years is done. Contract is over. If you don't want to deal with them again, they can go.
Go away.
The value of the contract
and
is
the cheapest charge.
Yes.
Among all the contracts.
The value of this whole contract, they were supposed to be, getting $24 million out of this a year. The whole value of the contract is $119 million. The equipment they're bringing on at all time throughout the 4 years would be their equipment. It's a tolling agreement, right? So they put out the plants, they start generating to our grid, and we pay them tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
For generation, we pay them, we buy it from them. That's all. Simple.
One of the most cheapest tariff.
Yes, that we're going to be paying. And we decided instead to let this one go. And people are saying, this is one of the ones that you can actually defer.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell them, or let's say give them the 18 million that came from that assessment and say, hey, hold this 18 million. You come online in 2025, right? Where we know we needed power. Look at the government's own power projections. The power projection is part of the national development plan, the mid-year development plans that come out every, is it 3 years or so, comes with a projection for our power. If you look at the Ministry of Energy or the Energy Commission's own energy plan, which we talked about on this show, there are projections out there that we're going to need a lot more of power. Even currently, as we're saying, we are doing 1D, 1F. We are going to need power for that. We have smelters that are laying fallow, not doing any work, productive work. And those are smelters that if they are running in vacuum, we could be, doing a lot of smelting, aluminum, we could actually start the industrial true tool manufacturing sector hub that we want our country to be. If we are making the ions, right, ourselves, right, it'll be easy for us to make cars. So I see the vision for the industrialization is not really a serious one. So we don't think we needed power. We are canceling agreement. This is one of the easy ones. So tell me about, and I want us to close on this. Tell me about what you think about, how they, the people involved and whether somebody should be prosecuted. I'm asking because, I think somehow somebody have to do some mathematics, right? And then agree that, okay, this is not going to make sense for the government. No, it's just to kind of punish somebody for not being your supporter. Or what is this about? And if it is a clear violation of our law, shouldn't somebody be punished? And I know you are calling for a bipartisan, investigation into this, but I'm looking for that. Is there criminality? Is that where are the governance abuses or misgovernance that perhaps you think should be investigated?
Well, for me, I think there is intentional criminality over here from this current administration, especially the Attorney General, who should have done his job, who has no basis of canceling this contract. Number two, I personally think, the reasons upon which the former Attorney General, Gore Akufo-Addo, and this Godfred Dame being his deputy, the advice they gave on this contract, what happened, and they went against the advice. The basis upon which they canceled this contract was on different reasons. Number three, why should you go ahead to cancel the contract and you've gone for arbitration for you to remove document from the contract. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Number 4, what stopped you from going to this arbitration by that this is happening in a foreign country for you to get foreign legal firm to represent us over there to make our case very well or to debate our case? For running away, not being there in person, putting it on COVID doesn't make sense. Number 4, for me, Ghana.
But that is interesting that they put it on COVID, right? Because even the arbitration, the hearing actually took
on virtual,
on Zoom.
Yeah, virtual.
So I don't understand the COVID angle.
Yeah. Number 4, don't forget Alfred. After the 170 million dollars was slapped on us, they were going back to try to, get something done and all those stuff. Don't forget they went to hire a law firm which belongs to Tony Blair's wife.
Omnia Strategy.
Yeah, they studied the document and they saw that we have no case. They stepped out.
But
don't forget,
they stepped out.
Before they went to the case, we've paid money.
Yes.
Financial loss has been caused over there.
Yeah. But Dami gave an interview and said Omnia approached them and made a suggestion to them that perhaps the case can be challenged. The judgment can be challenged. Meanwhile, in the agreement itself, it tells you that arbitration's decision is final.
Yes. That is why when they went and hired Tony Blair's wife's law firm, one of the not top law firm in UK, they studied the document and they stepped out. But don't forget, no law firm is going to just study your document without not let you put some money down.
Anything.
So something has been paid. They went to the second law firm after Tony Blair's wife law firm pulled themselves out and said they were not interested. They hired another law firm and they've paid money to those people. And they know, as you are saying, they know very well that in the document there's nothing you can do. Once that's been
when the case started, they remember they appointed Benchel, Echel or so they call him the Ethan Kuma's partner. They appointed him as arbitrator and he declined.
So you see, all these things that I've enumerated out here, 4 or 5 reasons, should tell you that this current Attorney General did not do a good job. Instead of him concentrating on the important things that he has to concentrate on, he should stop going to court, chasing, fix the country people. He should stop it and concentrate on these things. I am also saying that in the future, let's set up a bipartisan committee to look into this. Because if the case something should go to Parliament, Parliament has scrutinized the document, Parliament has given it approval on it. If you want to abrogate it, doesn't it even make sense to return back to Parliament where the document came from? To make your case to them, to tell them that A, B, C, D, a reason why I want to abrogate this contract. For they to be debated, for both the minority and the majority in Parliament, both, stakeholders, the expert, the energy expert, all of them, bring them on board. Let's debate this issue before you go into it. You just stand up because you think you are the government in power, you want to show where power lies, you just take a pen and a paper, write a letter to abrogate this contract. I heard Wachie Jakon saying that nobody should put the blame on him. This is how it's going to happen. Everybody is pushing the blame. The blame is pushing left, right, forward, center. But I am saying, for Ghana to be taken serious, if Akufo-Addo believe he's the president, and I don't even believe in him because there's a lot of that doesn't show that he's honest. If he's honest and he's truthful to Ghana, he should call his Attorney General to order.
I think if this thing were to happen in the United States, somebody would have already been fired. He would have already tendered their resignation.
Exactly.
Seth Mifetu says, great work, Togbi Amuzi. Thank you so much for watching the show, Seth. Thanks for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on, and we go into the weeds. We talk about these issues that other channels wouldn't even come close to. That's because we are independent-minded and we pursue the truth. This is the second time we're actually discussing this. When it first dropped, we discussed it, right?
Please
and
agree
we
that
thought,
when it came the first time we discussed this issue, the NPP people ran away, and today they've run away again. Ifa,
uh,
Yima, Joseph, and John, all of them are running away
no,
from this
if I
discussion.
explain that he has an emergency,
He
so
has
let's
no
take him at his
emergency.
word.
He has no
Uh,
emergency. I am
uh,
telling you, he ran away because he has nothing to say to defend this corrupt, this
Yeah,
thinking.
sometimes I
Yeah,
even like it like that, right? Because if it is hard to defend, you just don't want to defend it, right? And that is another way of expression of, the what is it? Are we supposed to be participants, right? That's another way to participate. Is that to not show up? Okay. Akwesi B say, politics. Hey, so Akwesi B is one of the hosts of I think a sports program on Akko Radio, which is this channel's Catch the Show. It comes off on Sundays. Very interesting. I know he's going to talk about Asante Kotoko tomorrow. He's going to be talking about a
tomorrow
house of
Asante Kotoko is going down
Asante.
2 goals. Phobia all the way. Phobia
Oh,
is going
phobia
to win
all
this
the
game
way.
today.
All right, you know me, Fabu. Okay, so I see a lot of celebration, and of course, this is one of the things that bring us together in Ghana. I'm phobia as well too. So
Thank you.
yeah, we'll see tomorrow. So I said Kotoko is falling tomorrow.
Yes, Kotoko is down tomorrow 2 goals.
I hear you. Okay. And I know Afa is actually fabulous. I see him waving the flag every minute.
As for if I he will kill me. Let's go on.
All right, Dr. Edward, my director, says great show. Thank you for watching, Doc. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Ask Dr. Ofori if I'm being political today. I'm being
Dr.
truthful today.
Furry, so you got the question. Paul is asking if he's doing. I'm waiting for Ato to come back. I haven't heard from Ato in a minute. Maybe he's watching. It's quiet. He, usually comes to the end and summarize everything for us. So we're waiting for Ato to come in. Okay. So, Fitch. I want us to talk about Fitch real quick. Fitch came out and revised our outlook. So it says the revision to negative reflects the significant deterioration in public finances stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic and the delays to the government fiscal consolidation efforts, which reduced Ghana's ability to absorb further shock. It's a further shocks to its economy. So basically, should we have a supply shock right now? We would not be able to find the money to actually buy anything. So, moreover, I say, in our view, the lack of clear majority in Parliament following the December 2020 election increased the risk of fiscal slippage. The B rating reflects the high public debt level and low revenue base, which means that Ghana's debt affordability metrics will remain markedly weaker than rating peers over the rating horizon. This is balanced against Fitch's expectation of recovery in economic performance and the stability of the debt to GDP ratio and the ready availability of external and domestic financing. It went on and on. It says public financing remains the key rating weakness for Ghana. After achieving a general government deficit on a commitment basis below 5% of GDP in the years prior to 2020, the deficit widened to 11.5% of GDP following the approval of a mid-year supplemental budget that contained an additional 3% of GDP in the COVID-related spending. When arrears clearance support for the financial sector is added, you're looking at 14% of GDP. And they are forecasting that they say here that we forecast a significant fall in the cash deficit to about 8.3% of GDP by 2022. But these remains well above the 2020 B remedy medium of 4 points, because the forecast then was that by 2022 we actually 4.8. So yeah, it's on and on, and it talks about the fact that they are forecasting that we will hit 81% of debt to GDP by the end of this year, and compared to our peers, our rating peers, if you look at all the peers. I'm laughing because Ato is in, and we're going to talk about what Ato said. And compared to the peers that we are in the same rating bracket with, our outlook has to be negative. We are trending negative. I mean, you go from negative to a C. C plus, and then work your way down. So basically, we are trending negative. We are not stable, and that is where we look in comparison to our peers. So let me tell you what Ato says, and then you can come back and then I'll answer your question. Ato says, I'm listening attentively to Paul and his politics. He say he has a blank check. So let me just scribble on it. All right, he's giving me some literature there, He said you have a blank slate, so he's gonna just scribble on you. Okay, so Ato, thanks for watching and thanks for listening attentively. Please tell your friends to watch Ghana Agenda. We go into the weeds. We talk about things that other stations don't talk about. So Paul, we are not trending right, and we say it's because of coronavirus. I've seen some, applications making the round that companies should apply for stimulus grants, and then somebody was asking, is the cocoa and the watches are going to be able to get their grants? That is the real economy there. So again, we are trending negative. Meanwhile, we are stimulating our economy, and we know, of course, there's a slowdown in economic activities, which has impacted our GDP. But then we also brag that we are the only country in the sub-Saharan or in Africa that actually recorded a positive GDP growth even in the pandemic. So you would think that in our peers, because this pandemic is not only happening to us, this is happening to all of us. And we are being rated with our peers where we were stable last year. How is it that our outlook is going negative against our peers who were also equally affected by coronavirus?
You see, Mr. Muzo, let me be frank with you over here. I mean, I've had a lot of workload on me this week that I've not been following these financial issues. But look, the short form of it is that we know, and we've been saying from day one, that Ghana's economy was deteriorating even before the introduction of COVID.
Right.
This government is hiding behind COVID to say that our economy is not doing well because of the impact of COVID. Mr. Amuzu, COVID is all over the world. When you go to Sri Lanka, when you go to India, when you go to, Ethiopia, all these countries suffered the same difficulties we went through. But they are all trying to strive. This should tell you how our economy was destroyed before the introduction of COVID. This should tell you how insincere this government is. They continue to lie to us to create impression as if the economy was booming. I don't know if you listened to the economic lecture or the economic situation of Ghana just this past 3 days lecture given by Dr. By the NDC.
You're talking about my guy. What is the name? I don't go.
You see that Ghana was struggling seriously before the introduction or before this COVID hit us. So for me, I'm not surprised that
maybe we should discuss Adongo's presentation next week. What do you say?
Yeah, we can do that. I'm not surprised that this report is coming. So for me, as I said, I'm not going to speak much on this thing, but the bare fact is that Ghana was not doing well. Our economy was deteriorating as far back as 2019. When you look at our GDP growth rate as compared to the money that inflows that is coming in, everything shows that the government was doing too much spending on unnecessary things that they were not supposed to do. And the economy was struggling. But they keep on lying. Dr. Baumia was lying to us, trying to create his own theories that has never happened. He tried to create them. And the truth of the issue is that when you joke with the fundamentals of your economy, COVID will come and go, but your economy will still expose you. This is all that I have to say on this topic.
Yeah, but they can also make a claim to the fact that, hey, look at the region. We are the only ones who had a positive GDP. We have to stimulate the economy to get to that level. So, and the president is continuing to open factories day in after day. Let me see. I think he says something. Okay. So, Paul, let's talk about the last. Since it's just us, let's talk about the last topic which we table for discussion today, which is Hold on, Paul. Yeah, so Paul, let's talk about the last thing which we tabled for discussion today. And I know you have to go to and attend to your family. So back in 1996, when the NDC won the election again, after being in office from 1992 to 1996, um, you know, being you recall that between 1992 and 1996, that NDC, the MPP, did not participate in Parliament. They abstained from Parliament after that election because they claim there was rigging and all that, so they didn't want to go to Parliament. So MDC and other minority parties formed Parliament. Coming into 1996, MPP decided to go to Parliament at that point. And of course, the NDC retained power. And the NDC made an argument that, the same ministers that we have are going to be, returned to their position. We would, change a few of them. But looking at our political environment, it looks like people who have things against other people try to use this confirmation processes to attack them, to say they have this property, these properties acquired through etc., and tarnish their images, etc. So they should allow the ministers to go into their positions without being vetted. The MPP agreed, but with a big reservation that will be the only time they do that. They were not going to do that again. That every position has to go through Parliament. I'm bringing this up because 4 deputy ministers were just, gone through the process. The specific time they went through for their, confirmation hearings, minority was not in Parliament. That is because the Speaker of the Parliament has instructed that parliamentarians go to their villages and support the government's planting and green agenda. As a result of that, when it came to approving them, the minority decided to walk out the game because they said they did not participate in, the process, the hearing process, because they were following the orders of the leader of Parliament. So here's my question. I mean, we've seen people who had clear issues laid against them through the vetting process, but they were confirmed anyway. Are these confirmation processes any useful? Should we do away with them? Should we just go back to 1996? Should we go to pre-1996 and allow them to ride? Paul.
Oh, Mr. Muzo, thank you very much for this question. For me personally, I think, I will not say we should stop vetting ministers.
Right.
As much as there's a lot of issues this time around these ministers, whereby even the minority, and they have their reservations.
We saw Kujeto decided to resign from the committee because the committee has no use.
Exactly. Even though some of
why
the
waste their
minority,
time?
it's not wasting their time. We are still growing our democracy, and I think we still need to continue. And as we go on, let us learn a lesson from what happened this year in the vetting, and let Parliament come together and put a document that will guide us in the future.
Right.
To say in the future, if people are or appear before the appointment committee, they should allow each and every one on the appointment committee to vote. It should be a secret vote. Based upon that, at the out of it, whatever it's going to be the outcome, they have to go by it. Those are the ways we need to go. I mean, we cannot say we should stop vetting them because anyway, whether you like it or not, they will pass them. Yeah, I mean, it's happening. But the democracy that we are following, the American democracy, is over 300 years old. They didn't start from day one. They fine-tune it. They continue to fine-tune it. And as we speak, they still continue to fine-tune what is going on. Or
you think that will work for we in Ghana? Because
it's going to work. Whatever the white man has done, the black man is capable of doing.
Yeah, and but that capability the black man has not shown.
There's nothing that the white man has done that the black man cannot do. For me, it is dedication. It is for us to commit ourselves People like you, people like me, people like them. I mean, the fine brains out there to speak about it. Look,
Right.
technology has, and social media is bringing a lot of change in the way things are done.
Right.
And I can trust and I can believe that moving forward, I mean, there should be an agreement which should be supported by both sides of the house, that irrespective of which government it is, ministers that will be going through vetings, if issues are raised against them, they should set a criteria whereby if, let's say, an allegation is raised against a minister who has been designated to take a portfolio, and the
Right.
minister is not able to purge him or herself from that allegation, I think we should all come together. It does not matter which government is power to kick against it. This is the only
Right.
way we can grow our democracy, and we are
Right.
getting there. We'll get there.
Right.
So for
Right.
me, I'm not going to say that because I mean some of the ministers were vetted by only the MPP and they were passed through, so we should stop it. I think we
Right.
need to continue. Democracy is expensive business, and
Right.
let's build it. Let's all come together. Let's build it. It's going to work.
Okay.
Let's not give up, or let's not throw the towel in and say, because I mean whatever happened, people will people will not come to say the truth and all those stuff. So we should stop it. And I also want to add to it that I mean that document that will be prepared. Let's put it that if you come to parliament and you lie, and it's
Right.
found out that you come to lie,
Criminal.
you should be stripped of your position. These things
Right.
should not be at the
I think we should go. We should go
should not be,
further
yeah,
to
it should not be at the perusal of the
criminally. Yeah,
president.
because you're
It should be
perjuring.
at the perusal of parliament. So the even though the president appoint, if parliament find out that you've lied to them, which is perjury, which is felony,
It's perjury. Yeah.
yeah, they should find a way to remove you from office.
Yeah. I think perjury is
So
criminal in Ghana, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you should
so
should
we'll
be
get
allowed to
there.
go through
Let's
the
all
criminal
help. Let's all
process.
work through it and get it done.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this last question about the Fix the Nation demonstration. I know you've been following. You know that one of the conveyors, I don't know if she can be called a conveyor, one of the celebrities, even though we talk about the celebrities being the problem, somehow some celebrities are stepping out this time and questioning government. So one of them, Ifia Odo, happened to be in court. They were hearing a case about the police not giving them, what do you call it, permit, and this permit was supposed to be for a 9th March demonstration. So the date is passed, but here we are.
The police were
hearing,
insisting that it's still in effect, and the court has
yeah,
ruled out that it is not in effect. It doesn't
right.
hold legal.
They should have a future demonstration date
exactly
for it to have any relevance.
Anyway,
But
the future demonstration, I can bet you the police will go back and put restrictions on them. But let's talk about Ifya Odo's arrest, because he was there to
right. So Ifya Odo came out of the court because court went on recess and people were taking picture with her, and that is when the police came in and picked them away.
I imagine when Yvonne Nelson 2015,
right,
she was leading the Doomsday demonstration. And imagine if those times John Mahama had sent people to pick her, or even the police have arrested her. They will say John Mahama is the one who sent.
And apparently she was kept for 3 hours, and then the police, they said they bailed them.
They bailed
but
without even charging her. They didn't even charge her.
So whatever the charge was, nobody knows. Shouldn't there be a charge for them to be bailed out?
Exactly. This should tell you that we have Kwesi Ofori as an NPP police officer who is there, who is doing this thing. But that police officer, he should remember that NPP will never be in power forever.
Right.
Whether he's an ASP or whatever it is, Kwesi Ofori, he's shown his biasness too much, and this is unacceptable. For me, this is the things that people should speak about. This is the thing that we expect the clergy. Where are the clergy people who were making noise in 2015 when these things happened? They've all gone to hiding. But it is good. We thank God. We are hoping 2024, when God grants the grace for the NDC to come back to power, we hope, and we don't want to hear from these people. Once they've kept quiet, they should keep on keeping quiet. For me, if Ifya Odo's arrest was unconstitutional, it has no justification, because you didn't even charge him. You didn't press any charge against her.
Yeah.
You just took her away for hot reasons. And I think if Efia Odo and his lawyers are interested, they can press charges against the police for
Right.
restraining on her human right. You
Right.
arrested her, took her, keep her for
Right.
3 hours. You didn't press any charges on her.
Any
I mean,
charges. So what was
they
he
should take a charges
what was she
against the
being detained
police.
for?
Yeah, they
Right.
should take for why was he detained? So for
Right.
me, this is what I'm going to say. This shows the
Right.
hypocrisy
Right.
of Ghanaians. If
Right.
NDC era, Yvonne
Right.
Nelson and her friends were able to demonstrate,
Mhm.
nobody did anything to them,
Right.
and they contributed to Muhammad losing the
But,
2016
but the
election.
government is saying that there is a COVID protocol. There's a LI out there
There's a
banning
COVID protocol, there's
gatherings.
LI out there, but the president
Mhm.
was able to go to Sir John's funeral. Look at
So
the way
then
they
it
were
becomes the
crowded.
police responsibility to arrest the president.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
You see
yeah,
the
you're not doing it.
hypocrisy. If it is the president and the NPP people, they are being
Right.
treated with different laws. But if it's
Mhm.
other common Ghanaians, they are being treated with different law. This should tell
Right.
you the sort of government we are in. For me,
Right.
Ghanaians spoke, but the true verdict of the people was twisted,
Right.
and we have not seen anything yet. I'm not predicting doom for Mother Ghana. I love Ghana. I'm a
Mhm.
Ghanaian. I'll continue to be a Ghanaian. But
Right.
look, there are difficult times ahead of us
Right.
because the
All
signs
right.
are showing.
Right. The signs are definitely showing our outlook is looking bad. It means that when we go out to borrow money now, Ghana's credit is,
It's going to be
bad.
very bad, and the
Yeah,
people it's going to be, you're going to pay more interest as compared to
yeah.
we used to.
As we
That's
as
what
we, we
that's what it
used to do.
means.
Just like an
Yes,
individual, you go pull your credit report and your
yes.
credit
Report is very bad.
score
Yes, so
declined.
anybody who's giving you a loan will give you a loan with high
I'll
interest.
give you a
That's
loan
what
with
it's
a
going to
high
happen in
interest
Ghana.
rate. That's what
Yes,
it means.
yes, that's what it means.
So this is not
And
good news for
yeah,
us.
this is
Yeah.
not good news for us. And Ghana is retrogressing under this super incompetent President Nana Addo. And we pray and we hope that our brothers in the NPP, they are communicators, Ifa and his brothers. They should speak truth to power. And Ifa, I'm expecting him to come next week and come and give me a tangible reason for not being on this show, because he
Right.
made a lot of noise on the platform which
Right.
we are on, the Ghana Agenda platform. He made a
Yes.
lot of noise and said, I will be running away. I'm going to fake sickness. I am here. Even though I was sick last
You
week,
are
I still
here whether
spoke.
you are sick or whether
Whether or
you
not
are healthy. Yeah, you're
since last
always
week, I
here
was not
and
feeling very well. I
really
still appeared
appreciate
on the
that.
shop and
Yep.
spoke on issues.
Right.
Today, he has run away, giving an excuse. That excuse he's giving to you, I'm telling you, he's lying.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with him. He just do not have the moral justification to be on
Mhm.
this show to
Right.
defend the indefensible.
Right.
He's feeling ashamed to come and defend the indefensible. That is why he ran away. So if you are hearing me, I am telling you, it's very disgraceful for you not to be on
Mhm.
this show to defend your party. And I will
No,
leave it there.
if I stay here as an emergency, so we'll leave it at
Yes,
that.
no emergency,
We'll,
Mr.
we'll-
Amusu. Thank you very much.
right. So okay. We have another comment from our good friend Ato. Ato says, ask for what the NDC would have done differently. The masses voted them out for non-performance and endorsed Nana Addo for a second term. Yes, we are going through tough time. COVID should partly take the blame for the economy. All right, so that's
For me, let me tell
yeah.
Ato, let Ato understand that.
Yeah.
The president was selected for us. He was not elected. And I keep on
By
saying this
selected
because
by who?
selected by Jane Mensah and the Chief Justice. They selected
Okay.
him for us to be our
Right.
president. We are
Right.
okay. The
That's
NDC is
all.
a
We're gonna assign
law-abiding
that view
party.
to you.
The
Okay.
NDC is a law-abiding party. We'll go by
Mhm.
it. And Mr. Musu, we've discussed this
Yeah.
several times. Let
Right.
Atu understand that even the Chief Justice ruling is contradicting. He created
Right.
a new figure, which is
Right.
nowhere near all the figures that Jane
He
Mensah put out there.
introduced a
If
fourth
they
figure,
think,
yeah, right.
if they think this is what
Mhm.
it is, God is a God who never lie. You cannot
Right.
take God for granted. If God has not given you something and you force yourself into it, this is what happens.
But
And
the
Akufo-Addo is
NPP
going to
has
face a lot of crisis.
the NPP communicators say, so today you couldn't bring out your collation, what you've collated. So
That's what they
I
think.
mean,
They should go ahead. The
right,
truth will come out one day. So
right,
let Atu understand that his party never won the election. They
right.
selected the president and they forced Akufo-Addo on us. It's a
How
fact.
about the BT saying that we are going through a tough time, but COVID should be partly blamed for this?
We are going
Because
through a tough time. Nobody is saying
yeah,
we are not going through a tough time. The whole country, every
yeah.
country is going through a tough time. But I
Mhm,
am saying, and I took to
mhm,
understand that our
mhm.
economy was in shambles before COVID.
Before
That's what
COVID, yeah.
that's the case I'm making. Our
And you're
economy
directing
was
him
in
to go listen
shambles.
to Adongo's presentation on
Exactly.
this.
Exactly. Exactly. Our economy was in shambles, was not doing well before the COVID hit the whole world. So
Right.
this NPP government is just hiding behind COVID to save the shame that they are supposed to bear.
And they're giving these grants out to SMEs, and there are allegations out there that they
They're just
are
giving to
all,
family and friends. That's all they
yeah.
are doing.
So again, yeah, and it's sad too that COVID actually took the wrong time to show up, because COVID came in an election year where the
Anyway,
expenditure actually gets out of hand.
anyway.
Yeah. So then he says that that's laughable. When you went to court without any evidence, you blame the arbiter. Okay.
And
Yeah.
as I told, if it's not a fact that the Chief Justice introduced another set of figure as being
Right.
the total vote cast,
Yeah.
if
We
it's
know
not a
that the
fact,
figures changed. The figures changed like 4 different times, with the last one coming from the Chief Justice himself. So that is
any
a fact.
interesting. So that's a fact.
Yeah.
It's gone to the Guinness Books of Record that Ghana
Right.
is the only country that we held election that we have
Right.
4
And
different figures.
let's put it on record that you see this GPGC arbitration that we just went through. If this thing had gone through the Ghanaian courts, oh, GPGC would have even been the one paying back
Paying
Ghana.
back exactly,
Yeah, because they
exactly.
actually had the balls to ask for termination fee from GPGC. Can you
Anyway,
imagine? All right. Okay, Paul. So let's take your last words and bring today's
well, for
program to
me
an
today,
end.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's been very, interesting, and it is very
Mhm.
grateful. I'm very grateful to be on this show for
Right.
me to put the bare fat out there. I think today
Right.
I've not played politics at all. I've been very, professional. I've been in the middle. I've laid
Right.
out the case as it is,
Right.
and I know, I know that the NPP were not going to appear on this show because they were going to run away from the facts, and the facts
Right.
are that they cannot defend this indefensible.
Right.
The rot and the intention behind canceling this GPGC deal was
Mhm.
just not justifiable.
Right.
They cannot justify it. If we bring neutral arbitrators to look into it, this
Mhm.
current attorney general will be found wanting. This
Right.
current attorney general was trying to create the impression, as Monday when this issue came up, was trying
Right.
to create impression as if he was not part of it. And Mr. Amuzo, this
Right.
government is so smart that they always try to create story to wipe away other story. Because last week the story was about the air flight whereby the president was renting 15,000 pounds sterling an hour plane, and
Right.
a plane that he wants to bath in the sky. They wanted to
Right.
wipe that story away.
So you're
That's why they
saying
brought this
Ghanaians
issue.
are becoming
So
growing amnesia too. We have a scandal amnesia.
yeah, every week there's not any
every week,
single week
every week
that this
is
government came into power that there's no
right.
any scandal that will not come out. Every week,
Right.
scandals upon scandals upon scandals.
Right.
And if this has happened under the Mahama administration, I don't know what the media houses and these clergymen in Ghana who have all kept quiet. I don't know
Right.
what they would have been doing, but we thank God that God took Mahama out of power,
Right.
allowed these people to come. Now we can weigh the two. Moving
Right.
forward, Ghanaians will know which party seek the interest of Ghana. I am not
Right.
saying, and I'm not going to pretend to be an ostrich on this show,
Mhm.
saying that certain things didn't happen under the NDC. Certain
That shouldn't have happened. Yeah.
things happened, and even when they happened, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama took the people on. He did not
Right.
allow them to go scot-free. Can we
Right.
say the same about this government? And the question is a big no. A merry deal involved the
Mhm.
president himself and his cousin, his secretary, and that secretary wrote a
Mhm.
letter to confirm it. So for me, I'll
Right.
end it here. Thank you very much, Mr. Muzu.
All right. Thanks for joining the show today, Paul. I know you got to visit us, so go and enjoy your weekend. My regards to the family. We really appreciate you coming every weekend, all your
Thank you very
contributions to the
much.
show. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much. You're welcome.
Uh, all right. All right. That's been Paul who joined us today. He's been gracious, gave us a lot of contributions. Now, Today we've discussed some very interesting things, and I'm going to give my wrap up in a minute. But Akko Radio is saying NDC should stop talking about the 2020 elections. They lost miserably, and they should accept it. Paul should also keep quiet because NDC as a party didn't produce any collated results of their own. And Paul is saying that the truth will come out one day. That number is there somewhere, so that number will come out one day. So we'll give him that. We'll wait, but we've been waiting. So Paul, tell your colleagues in the NDC to produce that number quickly. Otherwise, like I could already say, stop talking. All right. Ellen Mawunyo says, so it was COVID that selected the president over the will of the people. All right. Well, that is your opinion. You perhaps, I think, responding to Paul, but basically what Paul was saying there is that Jim Ensah and the Supreme Court Chief Justice actually selected a president for us based on what proceeded in court and the fact that numbers were being pulled from places that were that's being backed up, even including the new number that was introduced by the Chief Justice himself in his ruling. So, Maunyo, thanks for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda is on every Saturday from 2 p.m. And we get into the weeds. We discuss what others would not necessarily discuss. Ato Kwame Danso again says, you see how Paul calls them certain things, LOL. Okay, yeah. He said, wait, certain things happening in the NDC, but let's keep quiet. Okay, that those things shouldn't be happening. Anyway, thanks for watching the show. My name is Alfred Amuzu. Today's topic has been one of interest. I am, particularly disappointed in reading all the things that our government actually did during the whole arbitration process, where they were not producing documents over a year, where the claimant, the company GPGC who took us to arbitration, keep asking through the PCA, which is the person in charge of the arbitration, keep asking for these documents to be made available to answer to questions that they will ask. Besides that, even the deposit, because the court was going to charge, I think they agreed finally to charge $654 an hour for the sitting periods, and then some $6,000 or so extra for the entire process or so to pay for administrative costs and all that. The government was going to, matter of fact, the initial cost was negotiated down by our government, but for the two parties then have to now put money in some escrow to pay for the process as the process was going on. It takes like several reminders for the Ghanaian partners to just make this money available. Like they will have to be asking. Letters upon letters were written. So you can just see the Ghana counterparts are either not responding to the letters, or when they respond, it's due to situations beyond our control. The Ministry of Finance is working through the processes, and etc., etc. Everything is just slow, and that has delayed us. And this whole time that they were delaying the process, administration process, we were incurring interest. We're incurring interest on the judgment. So those are some of the things that disappointed me the most, that we have a whole ministry, whether the minister has been in charge or not, they are autocrat. There are people in the ministry working on the daily basis. But we're not producing documents. We're not producing payment on time to expedite the process, and we incurred interest because of that. Akko Radio again says, so Alfred, when will you talk about any good thing that the government has done? Or are you saying the government has done nothing good? Always talking about the unfortunate incidents. No, that's not the point. I mean, the government communicators are there, and we invite them all the time so that everybody has a fair. And in this particular case, the government lay blame on certain things that the NDC did, or that the NDC signed agreement that they shouldn't have signed. You would have expected them to be to kind of canvass that position. I bring these topics because they are the things that are happening. I mean, the NDC, if the MPP is doing something good, of course I reference it. I reference, the 1D, 1F that they are doing, and I thought for that same reason that they needed electricity, for which they are even forecasting themselves that we need more generation capacity in 2022. So How is it that you're canceling agreements when you need generation powers, when you are industrializing, when you are building factories? I always give them credit for the factories. I give them credit for their free SHS. If the government is doing something good, I say it. I know that they're embarking on, or they are resurrecting development banks in Ghana, which I brought for discussion. This is government initiative that I brought and we discussed on this program. We discussed it and we look at, instead of forming a new one, our only suggestion was, instead of forming a new one, go back to the old ones that you had. It's a brilliant idea. Nobody's discounting that. So if the government does something good, I bring it up. If they do something bad, I will be the loudest voice and we will speak it like no other. And we would make sure we cover all the topics too. Just like all the other, programs, they are copied. They have been selective. We are not. We bring everything and we talk about them into details. All right. So that has been the show. I think the program was good, successful, even though we didn't have our MPP counterparts to join us today. We should expect to have them next week. In the meantime, enjoy your week. And we would end on, again, another note of wishing our brother, Hope Chikata Selassie, who lost his life this morning. And, this is an incident that started a couple of days ago where he was presenting at the NDC summit in Ho. May his soul rest in peace, and our thoughts and prayers are with the family. Thanks again for watching. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The Ghana Agenda. It's on every Saturday. If you are interested, if you enjoy the show, please share the link. Tell your friends. We will see you again next week. In the meantime.
Hey, this your girl coming all the way from the US of A, yeah, baby, aka Ya Phantom. And me di feel a buzzing pan and to see one virtue the money how Ghana mat ada romantic. With me sending provisions, as I track credit, Emma Ebusia phone and the form one Ghana. And one is a www.ghanamat.com. And they would say, boy, a sharp connection. www.ghanamat.com. Let's try provisions in the credit. Na really I have friend numbers na screen as Ghana Mat, yeah,